After the evacuation, what some residents are returning to this wildfire season. Council pumps the brakes on plans for rapid transit along College Drive. Could a different roadmap mean fewer delays along the busy roadway? And Saskatoon set to play host to a major award show.
This is CTV News with Chantel Saunders.
Good evening. We begin tonight in northern Saskatchewan, where residents evacuated by wildfire have been returning home. For many, the destruction is devastating. John Flatters is in Denair Beach tonight, where hundreds of homes have been lost.
Residents of Denair Beach have been given the green light to return home on Sunday, but no one was prepared for the level of devastation they saw when they came back to the community. Residents who say they've been on the ground since Sunday say as many as 300 of 413 homes may have been destroyed. The province continues to deal with the wildfires as the SPSA says there have been 267 to date this year, much higher than the 5-year average of 166. As residents return, they're finding entire communities like this one in South Denair Beach where almost nothing remains. While the devastation has brought some to tears, everyone in the community says they're happy no one was hurt or killed in this fire. The repatriation efforts have been slightly delayed as evacuees coming from the Manitoba side had to wait until today to drive back. Residents say they're frustrated that the community couldn't be saved when they say enough notice was given about the gravity of the fire situation. As more locals return home, they'll have a chance to voice their concerns tomorrow afternoon, calling for accountability and an immediate plan to rebuild. John Flatters, CTV News, Denair Beach.
A father and son from East Trout Lake, whose house was destroyed by wildfire, want to know more about why more wasn't done to save it, despite their calls for help. As Carla Shinkaruk reports, the family is left remembering the sentimental items they lost.
Our community was left to burn.
Doug and Nick Swiderski say they lost not only their longtime home in East Trout Lake, 160 kilometers northeast of Prince Albert, but also the ashes of their parents and grandparents.
My grandparents always wanted to be at the cabin. They wanted to remain there and it never to be sold. So after they passed away, their ashes were left in the cabin.
This was the home Doug moved into when he was 6 years old.
It was left to burn. I'd heard at one point there was reports coming out that there's no permanent residences at East Trout. Well, I got news for them. My driver's license says that I used to live there.
They say they warned officials about the threat of wildfires, but were dismissed.
Now that we're hearing about the bombers, the lack of equipment, we tried to get them to call a state of emergency and get help sooner.
NDP MLA for Cumberland, Jordan McPhail, hosted the news conference.
This wasn't just a mistake. It was a failure to protect people and the places that matter. The Sask Party government needs to answer for what happened and take real steps to make sure that this never happens again.
The Saskatchewan Public Safety Agency told CTV News in an email they offer their sympathy to those affected. And their top priority is always protecting human life, followed by protecting communities, major infrastructure, and other resources. They add that all 6 of the fires of note at the time received multiple levels of response, ranging from wildland firefighting crews to air tankers, heavy equipment, helicopter support, contract resources, and/or municipal or volunteer fire departments. But that's not much comfort for this family.
We feel, and our entire community feels like our government let us down completely.
The Swiderskis plan to rebuild, but tell CTV they're having difficulty getting information from officials on how to do that.
It's very frustrating, and then now dealing with insurance. Plain and simple, we're having one hell of a time.
Carla Shinkaruk, CTV News, Saskatoon.
Jeff, it's another day and another evening of unsettled weather.
That's right. A number of locations in Saskatchewan under a severe thunderstorm warning. A large area under severe thunderstorm watches as we make our way into the evening hours. You can certainly see that it's impacting other parts of Canada as well. There's this line of storms along a trough line, so that upper level of elongated low pressure. And as you can see, Saskatoon just happens to be sort of in the donut hole, or there's a gap in the line of storms. But other storms are impacting areas to the south and the north of the city, and hopefully we'll be getting a few more reports on that. We'll keep you updated as we go along.
City administration is going back to the drawing board over a crucial stretch of the upcoming bus rapid transit corridor. As Keenan Sorokon reports, councillors want to make sure everything is just right before approving changes on College Drive.
Rather than approve the concept plan as is, administration will go back for a second time to look at potential changes to College Drive between Preston Avenue and Clarence Avenue, where dedicated bus lanes will run through the middle of the road.
I'm always of the view that when we do big things, we have to make sure we get them as right as we can.
Jeffries also wants the city to look at the latest technology, like implementing real-time traffic light control to keep people waiting at lights to make a left turn less often. Last month, administration asked council to approve the plan, but councillors had some unanswered questions about capacity and traffic concerns, especially with plans to lower the speed limit and add a pedestrian crossing. Despite Saskatoon's population growing by roughly the population of Prince Albert since a traffic study was done in 2018, administration says driving that stretch will take 3 minutes longer than it does now.
With a higher traffic volume today, the travel time may increase a few minutes to be closer or more consistent to the 3-minute increase for the with flow design.
Councillor Rob Pierce wanted to know how up to 200 people can fit and freely move on the platforms as students get on and off the bus during peak hours with exits on the end.
I'm concerned about the safety of people trying to get onto that platform.
Administration says an identical design has worked well in Calgary. An update will be provided to councillors sometime this summer. Keenan Sorokon, CTV News, Saskatoon.
Sastel Centre is here to stay, at least the name of it. The City Council approved a 10-year naming rights deal between the arena and Sastel. That means Sastel's name will remain on the building until 2034. Sastel is paying the city $4.85 million over the course of the deal. There is a renewal clause for Sastel to have the first chance to have naming rights when the city builds its downtown event centre.
Another benefit of staying with Sastel is changing names is hard. People associate with our facility or any brand and place, especially when they have such amazing memories.
The deal runs until 2034, but could end sooner if the city opens its downtown event center before the end of the deal. A man charged in the death of his girlfriend will be tried by judge alone. Andrew Rosenfeld is charged with second-degree murder in the death of 20-year-old Nakira Brown. Brown was found dead at a home in the 100 block of Avenue P South the evening of November 15th, 2022. During pre-trial proceedings, Rosenfeld opted not to have a jury at his trial, which is scheduled to take place over 3 weeks later this year in October. Saskatoon police are looking for help identifying the body of a man found in the South Saskatchewan River. Police say he was found just before 10 o'clock on Sunday morning south of the University Bridge along the East Bank. Foul play is not suspected, but police have not been able to identify him. He is described as having a dark complexion with dark hair and brown eyes. It's believed he was between 20 and 25 years of age and about 140 pounds. Anyone who can help police find out who he is should contact them. An investigator is looking into the cause of a house fire in the Pleasant Hill neighborhood. Firefighters arrived to find heavy smoke and flames coming from the basement of the home in the 100 block of Avenue N South yesterday afternoon. Crews were able to quickly bring the flames under control despite the flames and a lot of storage in the basement. No one was injured in the fire and everyone who was inside was able to escape. There is no word on how much damage the fire caused. This was the scene yesterday afternoon. Just before 5:30, a car had slammed into the front entrance of Citizen Cafe and Bakery. Police say there was a mechanical issue with the vehicle. No one was injured. The inquest for a Moose Jaw man who died in a police shooting is coming to a close as the jury finished hearing from all 15 witnesses. Sierra D'Souza Butts now on how the jury feels he died and if they feel anything could have prevented his death.
A jury has ruled Ryan Booker's manner of death to be suicide, providing no recommendations to prevent similar deaths from occurring in the future. 26-year-old Ryan Booker died in July 2022, shot by police after a 6-hour standoff with officers on Highway 1 near Belle Plaine. Disappointed by the outcome, Booker's family members say he was a great father, wishing he knew how much he was loved.
I just hate how he didn't get the chance to get help.
During testimony, Constable Burton Steele, a former emergency response member from Saskatchewan RCMP, says he fired the fatal shot. Telling the inquest, police can act if they fear bodily harm or death for themselves, nearby officers, or members of the public. At the time of the incident, the inquest heard Booker continuously requested to speak to his fiancée. His father, who was at the scene, testified he tried to speak with Booker, but was advised by police that it was not safe to do so.
Any parent would give their soul to have the opportunity for him to shoot me while I'm trying to save him. If he's going to shoot me, then so be it. But to not give the opportunity is, I think they failed there.
A medical doctor also appeared as a witness, revealing the final autopsy record of Booker's, with the cause of death being a gunshot wound to the face and neck. RCMP Superintendent Andrew Farquhar was asked if using less lethal weapons was discussed. He told the jury officers were beyond range to effectively use less lethal weapons, especially given Booker had a firearm, which police later discovered was not loaded. Saskatchewan's Serious Incident Response Team was established in January 2023 to independently investigate serious incidents involving police, meaning cases like Booker's will have additional oversight in the future. Sierra D'Souza Butts, CTV News, Regina.
A group home for youth struggling with mental health and addictions is opening in Prince Albert. Jasmine Peltier on what it means for them and the community.
Prince Albert Outreach founder Peggy Rubin is being honored for her dedication to helping youth during her nearly 20-year career with Outreach. Prince Albert Outreach will now be operating a group home named in her honor.
This is such an honor, like I've been gone for almost 10 years and you kind of think you're forgotten and, no one remembers who you are. So it's a real honor to do this. It's exciting to see some more stuff happening for the youth of Prince Albert. Just continues to be more and more for the kids.
Peggys Compass Home in Prince Albert will provide short-term residential care and mental health and addiction support for 5 youth aged 12 to 18. The home will take a youth-centered approach where youth will work with staff on their goals and case plans.
Maybe we can start with a small house for 5 kids. Well, maybe we can open another one. And I think that's what you need as the community gets bigger and Saskatchewan gets bigger, that you really need more and more services for kids because they are our future, right?
Prince Albert Outreach Executive Director Bill Chow says the next step will be getting youth and staff into the home so they can build a routine.
It's very exciting. It's been exciting this whole time. The staff are really excited about being able to, host some youth and help them on their positive path to hopefully becoming better.
The province says it will provide $800,000 in annual operating funding for Peggys Compass. The province funded the development of 2 other homes for youth in need of additional supports, one in Regina and one in Saskatoon, to a total $2.4 million. Jasmine Peltier, CTV News, Prince Albert.
A big announcement today for Saskatoon. The city will play host to Canada's biggest night in country music. Hallie Mandrick on the notable event heading our way.
In Saskatoon will be reaching for their cowboy boots next September, thanks to the city being named host for the 2026 Canadian Country Music Awards.
The way that we will be able to inspire another generation of country music artists in our city, and what we can do in terms of connecting those superstars nationally with our local talent.
In addition to the award show itself, the accompanying Canadian Country Music Week will include programming to showcase Saskatoon's local businesses.
We're also going to see our venues shine. We're going to have 10 of our local venues animated for this event, and so that's really an opportunity for the community to showcase how excellent we truly are.
This is the third time Saskatoon has hosted the event, most recently in 2017, and Block says a lot has changed since then.
We've added, the equivalent of several moose jaws to be able to host the world in a different way. As Saskatoon is growing into a modern global city, we are excited to be able to show our country and the world how we are growing up as a city.
The mayor added that she's hopeful to see people from across Canada partake in the festivities.
I look forward to participating in all the ways, and the mayor can two-step, just so you know. Fun fact.
The following is a message from the Canadian National Public Alerting System.
At 6:13 p.m. Central Standard Time Wednesday, Environment Canada has issued a tornado warning for West Central Saskatchewan. Extra care and attention should be exercised in and around the following localities: Lashburn, Maidstone, St. Walburg and Hillmond. Environment Canada meteorologists are tracking a severe thunderstorm that is possibly producing a tornado. Damaging winds, large hail and locally intense rainfall are also possible. Take cover immediately if threatening weather approaches. Please consult local media for more information.
A new and affordable and convenient way to get between various different destinations, including between Alberta and Saskatchewan.
Flix is headquartered in Germany and operates on 4 continents and serves 40 countries.
The following is a message from the Canadian National Public Alerting System.
At 6:14 p.m. Central Standard Time Wednesday, Environment Canada has updated a tornado warning for West Central Saskatchewan. Extra care and attention should be exercised. The following localities are included in the warning: Marsden, Neilburg, Senlac, Unity, Cutknife, Sweetgrass Reserve, Lashburn, Maidstone, St. Walburg and Hillmond. Environment Canada meteorologists are tracking a severe thunderstorm that is possibly producing a tornado. Damaging winds, large hail and locally intense rainfall are also possible. Take cover immediately if threatening weather approaches. Please consult local media for more information.
Saskatoon police say patrol officers were called at about 5 o'clock this morning for a woman who was trying to get into the cabin of the riverboat. They arrived to find the vessel no longer attached to the dock and the woman on the second deck. She was trying to open the door to the wheelhouse. She was arrested following a struggle with police who determined their suspect was also wanted on 3 outstanding bylaw warrants. She was taken onto dry land and charged with break and enter. Still to come, thousands of wildfire evacuees can now return home, and a major commitment to boost Canada's contribution to NATO. You're watching CTV News live from downtown Saskatoon. Thanks for staying with us. The Prime Minister is on his way back to Ottawa from the Netherlands after making a major commitment to boost Canada's contribution to NATO. Mark Carney has agreed Canada will almost double military defense spending to 5% of GDP, putting this country in line with 31 other NATO members, something that put a big smile on Donald Trump's face, the driving force behind this big development. Jeremy Charon is in The Hague.
A highly anticipated historic sit-down for the NATO alliance started today with a clear message from Secretary General Mark Rutte.
For too long, one ally, the United States, carried too much of the burden of that commitment. And that changes today. President Trump, dear Donald, you made this change possible.
That has been Donald Trump's pitch as he drove the charge to increase the alliance's defense spending pledge.
NATO is going to become very strong with us.
Alliance members making official today what was expected, a new baseline spending target of 5% of GDP to be reached by 2035.
This is a significant commitment in response to significant threats to our security.
The fact that we are doing this today, the fact that we're united, the fact that the United States is fully behind this, the fact that we're working together is going to reduce the threat environment 10 years from now.
3.5% will have to go to core defense spending, with a requirement to spend another 1.5% on defense-related infrastructure investments. Carney says meeting the 5% commitment would mean earmarking $150 billion a year for defense.
So yes, we'll find gaps. We'll be transparent about that. We'll make up those gaps. So the overall context of the net increase in defense spending is much less than the headline from 2 to 5.
But key to today's new pledge from the Alliance, a plan to review progress in 2029, ensuring it still meets the needs of the global security landscape.
Senior government officials tell us they see an opportunity then to address whether the breakdown of 3.5 and 1.5 could be balanced differently, a change they believe could be better for Canada. Jeremy Sherrill, CTV News, The Hague.
The Liberal government says it will introduce a bill that will see stricter bail conditions and sentencing for some crimes, including organized crime, human trafficking, home invasion, and car theft. Tougher sentencing guidelines for repeat car thieves and violent and organized crime is also being proposed, as is consecutive sentencing for some cases of car theft and for serious and violent offenses. This bail reform plan comes 2 years after the Liberals introduced other bail reform legislation. The plan to introduce tougher measures comes after years of the Conservatives accusing the Liberals of taking a soft approach to crime. Thousands of wildfire evacuees from the northern Manitoba city of Flynflon can now return home nearly a month after being forced to flee. Some 4,800 residents of Flynflon are anxious to do so. The out-of-control fire is still burning, but officials say crews have been able to contain it to outside of the community. Disaster and recovery assistance, as well as a food bank, will be available for returning residents. The mayor says no homes or businesses were lost to the fire, but residents need an emergency bag packed in case the fire re-enters the city. Canada's Elections Commissioner says there's no evidence that the federal election in April was affected by foreign interference. Commissioner Carolyn Simard also says there's no evidence of disinformation or voter intimidation. In a preliminary report today, she said her office received more than 16,000 complaints about the spring campaign. That's 7 times the number of complaints received in the 2019 and 2021 elections. Other complaints included allegations of preventing election advertising from being broadcast, distributing pictures of ballots, or publishing false statements about candidates. All right, the unsettled weather just keeps rolling in, Jeff.
Yeah, it certainly does. And we've already got some reports of potential tornadoes. We'll talk about that in a moment or two here. But let's bring up the map. So we do have a tornado warning that's in effect for areas around Waseca and Lashburn and Maidstone. And right now we have reports of potential tornado that have been sighted near the Lashburn area, south of Lashburn, moving in a northeasterly fashion. So we're going to keep our eye on that. The areas in yellow, well, those happen to be severe thunderstorm warnings. And then, of course, we have the tornado watch box, as well as severe thunderstorm watch boxes that extend across a goodly portion of Saskatchewan into Alberta and parts of British Columbia. So we'll keep that in mind. 22 degrees right now in Saskatoon. We had a thunderstorm, at least in the airport area. It was sort of around Saskatoon, not really in the heart of the city. 22 degrees dealing with a thunderstorm in Prince Albert right now, but it's sunny in the Battlefords and 22 degrees, and not so windy in Prince Albert, but it's certainly windier in Saskatoon and the Battlefords. Let's take a quick look at a Saskatoon almanac. 27 for a daytime high, 23 is typical, 34 is the record warm temperature from 1961 and 1962, 1 degree the record cold temperature 2003, and the sun's going to go down at 9:32.
Still to come, an impressive view, but a scary look down. Just how big is Canada's new tallest building?
All right, welcome back. And, aw, it's a rainbow. There's a pot of gold, and it's not even Christmas time. Chocolates. Anyhow, we've had some rain move through, and that's why we have the rainbow right now. But around Saskatoon, there's still some very unsettled conditions, and we'll talk a little bit more about that in a second or two here. Let's take a look at our, we're going to concentrate on what's going on here, even though some nastier stuff is moving into other parts of Canada. This line of storms, as you can see, this north-south line along that trough that's anchored up in northern Canada, it is sparking up a lot of active weather. and it's certainly making its impact felt in and around Saskatoon. 22 degrees for Saskatoon, Prince Albert, and the Battlefords, but of course Prince Albert dealing with a thunderstorm at the moment. The hot spot in Saskatchewan, Moose Jaw, 29 degrees. The cold spot, 1 degree. That was Hudson Bay. Around the province we go. 19 degrees in Lloydminster, 25 in Swift Current, 27 in Moose Jaw, 24 in Regina, 22 in both Yorkton and Estevan. Into central parts of the province, well, temperatures don't range all that much, just 5 degrees here, from 20 degrees in Waskesiu up to 25 in Kindersley. Many locations sort of in and around that 23-degree mark. Making our way up north, a similar temperature pattern, basically around 23 degrees as we make our way into the southern part of Saskatchewan. A bit more of a range because Outlook and Elbow have been dealing with some rain in it to cool things off. 18 degrees in both of those communities. It does warm up to 28 in both Leader and Maple Creek. It's 22 closer to the Manitoba border. Melville, Broadview, and Carlisle all in at that number. Now, here we go with our future cast. So certainly seeing some of that active weather moving into parts of northern Manitoba. Then, bam, tomorrow afternoon, it shows up again. And as you can see, basically around about 4 o'clock, you know, similarly, basically 24 hours from now, we can expect a return performance by this type of weather. Now, the tornado warning has shifted around a little bit, but it's still up towards that Maidstone, Waseca area and along the Yellowhead, or just south of the Yellowhead. And that the watch box still includes the Battlefords and Saskatoon. And, of course, the extreme thunderstorm warnings are still in effect for a number of locations in our province. Around the province we go for tomorrow. Temperatures are basically around 24 degrees for northern Saskatchewan. Key Lake expecting some showers. Showers and a risk of a thunderstorm for Spiritwood tomorrow. West central Saskatchewan, temperature in the mid to high 20s. A little warmer in the southwest, 27 or 28 degrees, the expected daytime highs throughout the region. And then we've got ourselves similar sky conditions in the southeastern part of the province with similar temperatures too. But Regina expecting some showers and a risk of a thunderstorm. And that's certainly true of Watrous tomorrow. And then mainly cloudy skies for Melfort, Humboldt, and Hudson Bay. Temperatures of 26 degrees in those 3 locations. Now the Battlefords dropping down to 12 tonight with a chance of showers, risk of a thunderstorm. Mainly cloudy conditions on Thursday. And then on Friday, back into the showers and thunderstorm, or at least the potentials therein. We're looking at 23 degrees on Friday, Saturday 20 degrees, but bouncing back on Sunday, and Canada Day not bad at 27 degrees. For Prince Albert, a similar pattern. 60% chance of showers, risk of a thunderstorm tonight. A mainly cloudy Thursday in store with a high of 26. A possibility of showers and thunderstorms on Friday and Saturday. Sunday, 24 degrees, 27 on Monday, and 28 on Canada Day. And finally for Saskatoon, you got it. A risk of a severe thunderstorm, 60% chance of showers, 14 degrees the overnight temperature. The winds backing off, but moderate to strong winds tomorrow with a high of 28 degrees. And then 26 degrees on Friday, 22 on Saturday, but a chance of showers and a risk of a thunderstorm on both days. Mainly cloudy skies on Sunday. A sunny start to the work week, 27, and then getting into Canada Day, mainly cloudy skies and 28.
Our mantra is live, laugh, love. No. Rebecca. I'm also Rebecca. We're the Rebeccas. We are best.
Saskatchewan's Rebecca Morasti is among the competitors vying for the top prize and bragging rights in Season 11 of The Amazing Race Canada. Morasti, whose hometown is Meadow Lake, will be partnered with her best friend, who is also named Rebecca, when the series resumes on Tuesday, July 8th. Season 11 kicks off in Edmonton with 11 teams competing, and you can watch The Amazing Race Canada right here on CTV or on CTV.ca, the CTV app, and the next day on Crave. Television and film actor Joe Marinelli has died. Marinelli's career spanned more than 4 decades and included roles in the mid-1980s on popular shows like Cagney and Lacey, Hill Street Blues, and L.A. Law. And he had a recurring role on the daytime soap opera Santa Barbara. More recently, he appeared on the Apple TV series The Morning Show. His agent said he'd been battling throat and stomach cancer in recent years. Joe Marinelli was 68 years old.
Famous around the world, please welcome the Fantastic Four.
Well, that gives it away. The final trailer is out for what Marvel Studios is hoping will become its next summer blockbuster. The Fantastic Four, First Steps, stars Pedro Pascal, Vanessa Kirby, Joseph Quinn, and Eben Moss-Bachrach as the iconic quartet of superheroes. In typical Marvel fashion, they're called on to save the Earth from a serious threat from outer space. The movie surfs into theaters July 25th.
All right, Jeff, time for pick of the day. What do you have?
We got a triple hit as always. Let's start off with this one. Some pretty nice ones here. This one comes to us from Sadie Green in the North Battleford area. Hi, Jeff. This is a royal fantail butterfly enjoying the sunshine in our lily flower this morning. We don't see many of these anymore. Yes, we've all got to do our best to get those pollinating plants out there to bring back the butterflies. Allison Irvine sends us this one. Here's a picture of a squirrel living near my apartment in Shellbrook. What a great shot of that squirrel. It looks like it's being fed pretty well, too. Have a wonderful day. Thank you, Allison. And finally, a lovely group shot. That's right. This is from Michelle Kajushka. She's one of the teachers, I believe, but this is certainly the grade 5 and 6 students from Viscount Central School. Today was the second last day of classes, and they dropped by for a tour of our television station. So it was great to host them, and they had some nice questions. And so I hope they have a great last day of school. I'm assuming it'll be a barbecue and a picnic and some good times there. So thanks for dropping by our TV station. It was nice to have you here. So if you'd like to send us an image, you can certainly do so by sending it to cfqcnews@ctv.ca.
Still to come, could the Riders be without their top quarterback this weekend? And up next, Canada has a new tallest building. A so-called super tall building is now towering over Toronto. It's Canada's tallest residential structure, and CTV's Beth McDonnell took in the view from the top.
It's so tall. It's super tall. One Bloor West has just secured its status as Canada's first super tall building, and it's the second tallest man-made structure in the country, next to the CN Tower. Here we go on the ascent, up one elevator, then another, then up another 6 flights of stairs to the big reveal. It's one of the highest places people will live on the land, a vista workers take in on the regular.
This is our corner office. This is what we do every day, and this is it's the best job in the world, I think.
300 meters or 85 stories is a serious climb. The view, absolutely impressive. Looking down is wow and yikes. One Bloor West has been rising for about 12 years. The celebration, reaching its super tall status, comes after a lot of work, from design to construction to setbacks. In 2023, the building went into receivership. Tridel officially took over the project in May.
It feels amazing. It really does, on so many levels. And it's kind of a pun dealing with the height of this building, but it's fun to have some participation in, you know, a super tall building, which up until today didn't exist in Canada.
The building set to have 470 residential units, a 5-star hotel, and retail space is expected to be completed in 2028. While much of the exterior is done, machinery and the inside are still big jobs ahead. For those involved since the beginning of the tower, the milestone is meaningful.
Very gratifying. It's an unbelievable feeling. And you sometimes forget about it because you have so many other things to do, and all of a sudden you're like, oh, geez, we did that. It's quite a good feeling.
A time capsule of memorable moments from the building's history was also created for the special occasion. But the skyscraper may not keep its super tall status for too long. A 106-story tower is already being planned to go up at the foot of Yonge Street. Beth McDonnell, CTV News.
When we come back, which big-name rider could miss this weekend's game? And exciting news for dinosaur fans.
Welcome back. Time to take a look at our rural forecast for tomorrow, and the unsettled conditions continue. So some places expecting just, mainly cloudy skies. It could be on the breezy side, but warm conditions to say the least. But with that warmth, some places are going to be dealing with showers and a risk of a thunderstorm. 24 degrees with that for Spiritwood, 27 for Watches. But I'll get out of the way and we'll take a look at Hudson Bay and areas around there, about 26 degrees, so above seasonal temperatures there. And then we make our way down south where towards the western side of the province, or west central to southwestern Saskatchewan. Temperatures in and around that 27-degree mark or thereabouts. And then as we get towards Lumsden and Pilot Butte, a possibility of some showers and a thunderstorm. And then as we make our way towards the closer to the Manitoba border, temperatures of around 25 and 26 degrees and a mix of sky conditions, but not expecting active weather. And that includes Langenburg, which is very close to the Manitoba border. Maybe a possibility of some thunderstorms clearing off, though, in the afternoon. High of 25 degrees, but it's going to be a windy day in Langenburg. And Langenburg is one of the places where internet plans of up to 1 gig are available from Sasktel.
On the field, the Saskatchewan Rough Riders are leading the CFL. Off the field, the team's front office is touting the team's success as well.
It was a good year financially, I think. Obviously, a bounce-back year on the field. And anytime you're able to have every major revenue item grow, and then...
The following is a message from the Canadian National Public Alerting System.
At 6:46 p.m. Central Standard Time Wednesday, Environment Canada has updated a tornado warning for West Central Saskatchewan. Extra care and attention should be exercised. The following localities are included in the warning: Turtleford, Glaslyn, Medstead, Lashburn, Maidstone, St. Walburg and Hillmond. Environment Canada meteorologists are tracking a severe thunderstorm that is possibly producing a tornado. Damaging winds, large hail and locally intense rainfall are also possible. Take cover immediately if threatening weather approaches. Please consult local media for more information.
Highest the Green and White has seen since 2018. League revenue sharing brought in an additional $6.7 million. Riders starting quarterback Trevor Harris has now missed both practices this week, bringing into question his availability Saturday against BC.
Harris looks left, pumps, comes back the other way. Mitch Picton, ball up for grabs and hauls it in. Harris also got hit at the end of the play.
Harris took a big hit in the third quarter of Friday's game against Toronto, which was called for roughing the passer. The Riders have Harris listed with a head injury plus out with an illness. Head coach Corey May says they're being cautious with the pivot, but are confident in Jake Mayer if they have to go to the backup.
Is that concussion related or not?
Yeah, I mean, it was a big hit, you know, so, you know, we did keep eyes to that, you know what I mean, and protecting the players. That's kind of just what we're about here in that situation. But also, too, he's, like I said, he is dealing with some kind of infection. I don't know, but only more reps will help him. But certainly, man, he's Jake Mayer. That's why you bring him in there, and we've got nothing but confidence in the kid.
Mayer's last start was last season against Saskatchewan as a member of the Calgary Stampeders. With some analysis on Trevor Harris's status, here is this week's X's and O's.
And Wes Cates is in for another edition of X's and O's. And the big news out of Rider Camp is the fact that Trevor Harris missing a second straight day of practice. If he cannot go, Wes, what is your confidence in the backup quarterback, Jake Mayer, who does have CFL experience?
Yeah, I'm not sure what's going on with Trevor Harris. We talked about him maybe sustaining a light concussion.
The following is a message from the Canadian National Public Alerting System.
At 6:49 p.m. Central Standard Time Wednesday, Environment Canada has updated a tornado warning for West Central Saskatchewan. Extra care and attention should be exercised. The following localities are included in the warning: Edam, Paignton, Turtleford, Glaslyn, Medstead, Lashburn, Maidstone, St. Walburg and Hillmond. Environment Canada meteorologists are tracking a severe thunderstorm that is possibly producing a tornado. Damaging winds, large hail and locally intense rainfall are also possible. Take cover immediately if threatening weather approaches. Please consult local media for more information.
Maybe Tommy Stevens has brought some of that confidence as well. I feel like he looks at himself as kind of like a specialist in the sense, like, if you need short yardage, I'm coming in there and I'm going to get you what you need and then some. I like the way, one thing quarterbacks don't do very well on QB sneak situations is they kind of just get the ball and try to just hug up in behind the O-line and not really look for that gap or that crease. Tommy Stevens, he's a vet at it. He pauses for a second, and then you might see him hit the gap or maybe bounce it. He looks for that opening, and then he tries to extend the play and get you extra yards. So I think that's something that the Riders are very lucky to have a guy like that. Obviously, he's a big dude too, so that helps when you're trying to get those extra yards.
Defensively, it'll be an interesting matchup between the Riders' defensive line, BC's O-line this week. BC is tied for giving up the least amount of sacks. The Riders have had the most sacks, 10 for their defense. What do you see in that little trench matchup?
Well, yeah, BC's been struggling, and I think that's going to be probably one of the big factors in the game. Obviously, Michael Carney started off with a couple of sacks in the first game. Thurman's had a sack a couple of times now. It seems like everybody's getting in on the party, which is great, right? So I think Coach Mason, that defense, are doing a great job of kind of, calling up some blitzes and stunts in the right situations, and then guys are kind of holding their water and not giving it away so that they're catching these offenses off guard and actually getting home to the opposing quarterbacks.
And always be the question to Nathan Rourke, will he be good to go after missing last week? So we'll have to wait and see what the Lions bring to Saskatchewan on the weekend. We'll take a look at that game and look forward on another edition of X's and O's.
It looks like the DHL strike is over. Marilla Fernandez explains.
Unifor says it's reached a tentative agreement.
The following is a message from the Canadian National Public Alerting System.
At 6:52 p.m. Central Standard Time Wednesday, Environment Canada has issued a tornado warning for West Central Saskatchewan. Extra care and attention should be exercised in and around the following localities: Edam, Paignton, Churtleford, Glaslyn, Medstead, Lashburn, Maidstone, St. Walburg and Hillmond. Environment Canada meteorologists are tracking a severe thunderstorm that is possibly producing a tornado. Damaging winds, large hail and locally intense rainfall are also possible. Take cover immediately if threatening weather approaches. Please consult local media for more information.
The day at $98, a Nutrien was down $1.07. Coming up next, just how much were some people willing to pay to visit space? And a new...
The following is a message from the Canadian National Public Alerting System.
Stay with us for another great night of television starting tonight at 7 with Master Chef.
It's a whole lot of Gordon Ramsay.
It is. Well, 3 countries launched their first astronauts in more than 40 years today, sending them on a private flight to the International Space Station. India, Poland, and Hungary shared the tab for the 2-week mission. Axiom Space arranged the deal. The Houston company put the ticket price at more than $65 million per customer. The group is expected to be in space for about 2 weeks, helping to carry out 60 science experiments. Privately funded missions to the space station are fairly rare, but NASA routinely sends up rotating crews to keep the orbiting lab staffed. So, $65 million.
Yeah. Probably a bargain.
Yeah. Well, a new species of dinosaur has been unveiled at London's Natural History Museum. A small herbivore lived around 150 million years, roaming the Earth in the late Jurassic period. It was the size of about a Labrador retriever with a long tail. Researchers say the species was from the western U.S. and lived alongside more famous dinosaurs like the Stegosaurus. The fossil originates from a commercial excavation site and was bought by the museum.
Very cool. Very interesting indeed.
All right, you got some weather updates?
Yeah, let's take a look at our map right now. I just wanted to bring this up. There has been possible sighting of a tornado in the Turtleford area, but right now the severe thunderstorm, the tornado warnings are in place for St. Walburg, Payton, Onion Lake, Maidstone, Waseca, Turtleford, and Medstead, and then they have the severe thunderstorm warnings, Duck Lake, Roster, and Hagen, as well as Buffalo Narrows, Isle La Crosse. So a number of places. And then there's the watch boxes on top of that. So we've got a lot to take into consideration there. So please be safe and heed those warnings when they're out.
Yeah, a lot going on out there for sure. All right, that is our show. Thanks for watching. Stay safe, and we'll see you a little bit later.
You betcha.